There was a bowl that was literally like 2 feet from this baby being born. The babies are born into the highest vibrations. They're born into the highest frequency when you add sound healing to your labor. The vibrations can help with pain management. They can help kind of distract the brain from anticipating the next contraction. They can help relax the body so that the body can open easier and provide prayer and healing in a stressful time. I saw during that labor and birth, I saw immediately how the sound impacted her. It was so cool, Stephen. What sound healing does is that it helps this relaxed state, it helps the brainwaves go into theta. So instead of this constant fight or flight in this stimulated state, it allows the brain to go and to relax. And in this theta, a lot of healing can occur. And every instrument, including our own voice, produces a frequency and a resonance. You just have to find what's right for you. But I finally identified that I really had bad postpartum anxiety. And I would have these like panic attacks. I felt like I couldn't breathe, like somebody was sitting on my chest. It was horrible. And it would happen like out of nowhere. But the first thing I did after it happened a couple times, I just grabbed my bowl and I remember sitting on the couch. The baby was sleeping. I was having a horrible panic attack. And I just started striking the bowl. And it just helped me slow down just a little bit so I could kind of like catch my thoughts and catch my breath again. And then I just used it more and more. It was more, I have control of my thoughts. My breath is slowing down right now. My body feels safe. I am safe. Pregnancy, labor, and postpartum can bring so many emotions. You have hormones all over the place. You have major changes financially, physically, mentally, emotionally. I mean, it's such a big change in your life. And it's something that I was so excited and so ready for. But when it actually happens, you're just like, whoa, this is crazy. Your whole identity changes. You go from Jessica at Attunergy, just me by myself, you go to like, now I'm a mom and I have to like, it's crazy. It's beautiful and it's so awesome, but it's a total change of identity. I'm a whole different person now. And so navigating through that, I needed help.
Quick heads up before we continue, I just launched the official Twisted Reality newsletter. If you're someone who resonates with what I explore on this channel, then you're going to love this. It's where I share the deeper stuff, the stories, the insights, and the uncomfortable questions that don't always make it into videos. If that sounds like something you want to be part of, you can join the newsletter using the link in the description below. I'd love to see you there. Before we ever speak a word, before we open our eyes, we know sound. Our very first sense of safety is formed in the womb, listening to our mother's heartbeat, a rhythm, an eternal drum, reminding us that we are held. Today's guest, Jessica Berger, founder of Attunergy, has brought that ancient wisdom back into modern life through the healing power of sound. Whether it's supporting women in labor with the vibration of bowls or helping people ground during life's most chaotic transitions, her work is about coming home through frequency, presence, and deep listening. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you for the beautiful introduction.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you here, and I personally really resonate with what you do. As I told you before, I deeply, deeply have explored the significance and power of sound through the voice and through instruments, immerse myself in different modalities. And I would love to hear how did sound come into your life as a healing force.
Yeah. So, about 5 years ago, one of my cats was diagnosed with GI lymphoma, and I wanted to offer her some sort of holistic healing. I knew that I may need to go a conventional route, but I wanted to try other options before going to that. So, I bought my first sound bowl, and I had heard the sound bowls in a yoga class. That's where I was kind of initiated into this experience, and I was like, "Wow, what is that? What is that sound?" When you're laying there with your eyes closed and you hear this, it's something you've just never
Hmm.
heard before. And I purchased my first sound bowl. I started with the root chakra bowl, C note, and I brought it home and I would play it for her, and she would just lay there and just enjoy the sounds. And then I just continued to practice with that one bowl, and I realized that one bowl was not enough. I I had to have the rest of the set. So then I just slowly started accumulating bowls. I bought the sacral, and I worked from the root chakra up to the crown chakra until I had the full set of bowls. It just felt incomplete, not having all seven. So she loved it, and I truly believe that it helped her relax and that it felt good for her. Not all cats respond the same to sound bowls. My other cat is terrified, but dogs respond pretty well. And so, anyways, that's how my journey started, is trying to holistically heal my cat with sound vibration.
Wow, that's incredible. And that's very, very interesting because even when I play it on my phone, our dog and the parrot are like listening.
Hmm.
They're just stopping whatever they're doing and they're just listening. So I always felt like, okay, if I get one, what will happen then? So that's
Uh-huh.
interesting to hear that you had also experiences with different, probably also how people experienced, right? Like some people might feel very drawn to the sound bowls, and then others might be more drawn to flutes, which you also use. Is that is that
Hmm.
correct?
Yes, that's true. I think everybody, depending on what you're going through in life and the experiences that you're feeling, you're drawn to different instruments. And that could be a positive thing, but also sometimes we need those sounds that we're not so attracted to. Sometimes those sounds are trying to tell us something, or they're trying to move energy in the body in a certain way. So I think it's important to stay comfortable, but also to explore some things that are uncomfortable, because that's where we might find something that helps us
Wow, that was very profound. This
grow.
reminded me of life in general because we kind of tend to feel uncomfortable when there's a lot of light that wants to be revealed, but we with
Mm,
light there's also darkness that follows, right?
yeah.
It's that balance. So,
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, right now I'm planning on moving in a few weeks, and I've been in this home for 9 years. So there's a
mm,
lot of comfort and safety in this house, even though I know it's not the best choice for me right now. And so yeah, it's stepping into the unknown. It's trusting that trusting the process, trusting that something greater is leading us to where we're supposed to be. And throughout my life, really I've really learned and trying to hold on to the idea that whatever happens is meant to happen. And so sometimes we have to take a step back and have like a more wide view of what's going on. because we get caught up in the day to day so easily. It's hard to take a step back sometimes and look at the big picture. And sometimes we can't do that until after the event is over or years later. We can look back and be like, oh, that's why it was happening for me. It was happening for me, not it was happening to me. And that's a big mindset change that sometimes helps reframe some scary, uncomfortable thoughts and events.
Yeah, I think my last guest actually talked about this connecting the dots backwards is always easier.
Hmm. Yeah, that's just so true.
And so connecting the dots backwards, what is attunergy? Like, what called you to create attunergy?
Yeah, that's such a connecting the dots backwards. That's like hits the nail on the head. I was in corporate America. I thought that's what I wanted to do. And I was really attracted to just like becoming this big CEO of a company one day. I earned my MBA at the University of Miami, and I was set on this career path of growth, and I was so excited about it. And I landed my dream job at Royal Caribbean, and it was incredible. And then COVID hit and just demolished the cruise and hospitality industry in general. And so I lost my job, and I found myself, like many other people during COVID, wondering, what am I going to do? Especially in hospitality, because there were no jobs for quite some time. And I was sitting around and, you know, a, simultaneously with my cat getting sick, my cat got sick right during the same month that I was furloughed. So simultaneously, I also was into essential oils because I found that sound affects the brain very quickly, but so do essential oils. They cross the blood-brain barrier and they respond very quickly and release positive chemicals in the brain. And so I was playing around with my oils, and I thought, oh well, I really like these blends. Why don't I make some blends for my friends and family? And so I started making my first product was bug spray because living in Miami, Florida, we just have a ton of bugs like all year round. And so I started making these bug sprays and people just love them. And I would bring them to my sound healing sessions and try to offer them to people, and they were going really well. So then I started playing around with some other things, and Stephen, it grew so fast. Um, it went from just having a hobby to building a website and offering all of these things and then creating the name Attunergy, which took the longest out of the whole process, I think. And creating the website, creating my social media, and it just went. It was like meant to
Huh.
be. It just one thing after another. And here we are today. Yesterday I celebrated 4 years with Attunergy. And it's just sometimes it blows my mind. I'm just like, wow, I was just trying to help my cat, and here we are. I'm on a podcast with Stephen in India. And, it's just like, wow, that's that's not me. That's like I didn't try to control any of
Hmm.
this. It just happened, and it was so it's not easy, but it was easy in the sense that it just flowed, and that one thing just kind of leads to another. So I formed a Tunergy shortly after I received my sound practitioner certification. I did a course to become a sound healer, and after that I was like, yes, like I'm all in. And I created a Tunergy, and I haven't looked back since.
What an incredible story. It speaks so much to the power of taking the first step before figuring everything out, right? You said the last thing you figured out was the name, which most people get stuck. Like, what should it be
Yeah.
called? What is this? What is that? And you were like, okay, I have something. I have a product, which is the bug spray, and I have something to offer, which is the healing, the sound healing. So let me just start and then figure out the rest of it. That's truly truly beautiful and a great example of focusing on acting and doing instead of trying to figure everything out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a couple different ways to start a company. One is to get everything set up before you launch and then just have this grand launch and all of your social media and your email marketing and everything is cohesive and beautiful and it all just looks great. And then there's also like we're just going to start right now and we're just going to see where it goes. I was creating my own labels.
Mm.
I was winging it and I just used my intuition and my business experience and I just went with it. Um, and that's the other way of starting a business. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. It's just what happens. But yeah, it was, it almost surprised me. I was like, wow, look at you.
You talked about the sound helping a lot with the mind. In your experience, how does sound work on the body and the nervous system?
Yeah, it works a couple different ways. And I like to talk about it in both the scientific way and the spiritual way because some people believe in one and not the other. So, okay, so sound healing spiritually affects the body through the chakras and it helps to balance the chakras. It helps to clear any energetic blockages that may be there in the body. And a lot of times when playing different instruments, people will just start crying
Mm.
and they might not even know why they're crying, but there's just this release of stuck emotion. And I've seen that over and over again. And, there's not really any other way of explaining it. And so that's the spiritual side of things. Now, the scientific side is that the vibrations and the frequency help us through a couple different phenomenons. One is called entrainment. Entrainment states that when we surround ourselves with higher vibrating things, we start to vibrate at a higher level. So, say for example, you're feeling depression, um, you're vibrating at a low frequency, and so even if you surround yourself with more positive people, for example, that would raise your vibration, and so the frequency of the bowls, of the gong, of all of the sound healing instruments, they're at a higher vibration, and so we start to raise our vibration. And I think that that's why sometimes you're attracted to one instrument over another, but we'll get into that later. Now, another theory is called somatics, and this states that every vibration has a specific pattern that is created with the frequency and the vibration. So you could look up, for example, um, what 432, that's a popular frequency. You could look up what does 432 look like. And some people use flour, they use sand, they use water, and you start to see these intricate patterns that are formed. If you have a sound bowl, you could put water in it and you could play it and you'll see that pattern in the bowl. Okay? Now, what does that mean? That means that that frequency and vibration is doing that in our own body because we're made of water. We absorb the frequency. And so it allows for the cellular restructure and regeneration in a sense. And so these two methods are, you can, they're science. You can't, I mean, that's just the truth. And so I always say that the best way to experience this is to attend your own session. Now, you can listen to the sound healing on headphones, and that's great, especially if you have anxiety or trouble sleeping at night. But it does not compare to experience a sound healing session in person and truly feeling those vibrations in the body. It's just a totally different experience. Or purchasing your own sound bowl and feeling it for yourself in person. It's very different.
The bowl doesn't have to touch the body, correct? It just has to be
No,
in the same room.
that's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. The vibrations can travel pretty far.
Oh.
Now, I want to touch on one more thing that I didn't mention. It's called Theta. What sound healing does is that it helps this relaxed state, it helps the brain waves go into theta. So instead of this constant fight or flight in this stimulated state, we're constantly on our phones, right? Like answering emails, text messages, like social media. So it allows the brain to go and to relax. And in this theta brainwave length state, a lot of healing can occur. And you can look this up. Theta is a state of meditation, it's a meditative state. And the body can repair itself. The mind can just quiet down and relax. And so we go into this, we stop the fight or flight. We go into the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's hard for a lot of us to do nowadays with technology and with the stress of life. It's very hard for us to do. We have to give ourselves this time on a regular basis and allow the body to really reset. Um, so I would say, to answer your question, the common misconception is that this is not for me, but the truth is it can be for everybody. You have to find the right instrument that resonates with you and that you feel when you hear it, you're like, yes, that's it. That's the instrument for me. You don't have to start with crystal bowls. You don't have to start with anything specifically. Every instrument, including our own voice, produces a frequency and a resonance. You just have to find what's right for you.
And would you say that there are any misconceptions that people have generally? Is there any misconceptions that people have about sound healing or becoming a sound healer that you feel you want to clear for those who are listening?
I mean, the first one is people think it's like woo woo, they think it's like spiritual, witchy, like whatever, right? They don't really understand it. And they don't understand the scientific part of it, which has been
Hmm.
proven. And the other misconception is that like that we or that I heal you. Okay. I'm not healing you. I'm providing a space that you feel safe, comfortable, and I'm providing the sounds and the instruments in a strategic way that allows for the body to relax. And in that space, healing can start to happen.
Hmm. So if somebody feels called to start with sound healing but doesn't know where to start, would you recommend them just to go and explore, to listen to different bowls or flutes, different instruments, and kind of expose themselves and see what resonates with them most, or attend maybe a session with?
Yeah. I think that some of the instruments can be a little bit pricey for people. So before you invest into an instrument, I think that it is good to either go to a few different sound healing sessions and see what people use, what feels the best for you, what you feel most connected to. There are some stores, I'm sure in India you have stores that sell bowls and things like that. In the US, it's not quite as common. But you could go to different stores and play with the instruments yourself, talk to the salesperson there and ask questions about, frequencies, size, weight, how you play it, etc. But yeah, sit on it. And what I find happens is that once I start thinking about something for like a couple days, then I know it's meant for me. If I don't purchase it on the spot, but the next day I'm like, man, I should have got that bowl. And the next day I'm like, I really need that bowl. And then I'm like, okay, I think that that's meant for me.
When you have that call within you and it keeps
Yeah,
nagging you.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and you mentioned also that you want to talk about instruments a little bit more, so that each instrument offers a unique type of healing. And so the bowls come in different frequencies, and they come in different sizes. Some are
Hmm.
these I think Tibetan, what are they made of, brass, I think,
Depends. Yes,
metals.
metals,
And then there
metal.
are
Hmm.
now more crystal type of bowls that are coming out,
That's
which
right.
are also different. Like some are very thick and big, some are thin, some are
Yep.
small. So the variety is increasing, and so the confusion, I think, also is increasing.
Yeah. Where do I start? You
How was
know,
it for you?
where do I
Like, yeah, what did you connect the most with? And once you kind of opened up your set of different instruments, how did you approach them?
I didn't have any. Like I said, I just dove in. So once I heard that sound bowl in yoga, I was immediately addicted. I do have a music background as well. I played Suzuki piano as a child, and then I played violin for a long time. So I do have that background that helped navigate which instruments to buy. But I just dove in, and for me, when I bought my first bowl, a lot of people start with the heart chakra bowl. Understandably, I understand that. But for me, I started at the ground and I worked my way up. You know, it was kind of like, okay, you have to start at kindergarten and then you go to first grade and second grade. It's You don't just start at like 11th grade and graduate. So I started at the bottom and I worked with the root chakra for a while, and then I continued on. And then I bought a chime was my second instrument. And since then I have started just diving into more instruments, and it changes. When I first started, I loved the crystal
Hmm.
bowls. And now I love my gong, and I'm more into the Himalayan Tibetan metal bowls, more into to earth sounds. So
Hmm.
it changes, and I think depending on what I'm experiencing in life, my preferences change, and that's okay too. Um, I'm lucky in the sense that because I sells sound healing instruments, I have a lot of
Hmm.
choices at, you know, most of the time I have a lot of choices that I can just kind of choose what I want in the moment. But for people that are purchasing their instruments one by one, it's important to there's a couple things. Like we said, it's important to connect to it. But the other thing is thinking about how am I going to use this instrument? If I have a 30-minute session or a 60-minute session, how am I going to fill that time with these instruments? If I'm using it for my own meditation, right? What does that look like? How do I use that instrument? And what are the purposes of this instrument? You have some instruments that are more grounding
Hmm.
sounds, and you have some instruments that are more uplifting.
Hmm.
So, for example, say that you have depression, you probably want to use more uplifting instruments. But if you have ADD or ADHD, you probably don't want the uplifting sounds. You want the more grounding sounds, right? So there's a purpose behind everything we use. And you don't have to get so technical. So don't be scared by what I'm saying.
Hmm.
You don't have to overthink it like, well, I got this and I need that. No. At the very, at the most simple form, pick an instrument that you love. And that's it. Because you're not going to be dissatisfied with something that you love.
Hmm.
But if you really want to get into the use and the structuring and all of that, you want to be like a nerd about it, like I am. You know, if you really want to look at all aspects, then these are some things to consider.
Yeah, that's great. I think connecting to the instrument is what I hear is kind of the most important thing, because only you and your body can tell if this actually resonates with you. It though it can be that what we talked about before, that you might feel a bit uncomfortable because there is actually some pain, something that you're holding on to, and that bowl is bringing it out. But the question is, do you want to have that bowl always around, or is it something that you might want to go for a practitioner for healing to? Like, is it something that you want to continuously work upon right now? Are you ready for
Hmm.
it? Are you ready to really step into
Yeah,
that pain? Or do you
yeah,
want to first start with something soothing, something which kind of calms you down, like you said, maybe something more grounding, and not go for that which is triggering you? So that's, or if you
yeah,
could have both, so you could work with the grounding one and have, like,
sure.
a healing kind of, so both experiences.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I structure my sessions in a way that I want them to be impactful, but also, yeah, you need to ease people into it and help them feel grounded. You don't want to just start banging on drums and gongs and like people are like, what's going on here? It's chaos. There's a method to the madness, and being conscious and aware of people's body
Hmm.
language while they're laying there. You can, as you're playing, you can scan the room. You can see how people are responding to the instruments. Um, some people may start to kind of tighten up, right? Then some people really relax and they even fall asleep. So you can take these cues from people as to what instruments you should play next, or maybe you need to play louder or
Hmm.
softer depending on the feedback that you're getting from the audience.
And you said there's a method to the madness. Is that method the method that you learned during your training, or would you say it's more intuition that leads the method?
It's definitely both. I think that there's a structural form and there's a way of structuring the sound healing session, but it's also using your intuition. For example, over the weekend, I provided sound healing for a woman in labor who was having a baby. Now, I'm not going to go in there and do my traditional session, right? This was completely led by intuition and really going with what I felt she needed at that moment to get her through the next step, to get her
Hmm.
through the next phase. Um, and I think that that's something people have started to stray away from more and more, is listening to that little voice inside of us. And it's something that I'm actively working on, is trying to connect with and follow my intuition. It's not easy because there's so much outside noise all the time, right? And now with AI, like there's so many there's so many ways to get answers that are not from within us. And it's so easy just to type in a question and have somebody tell us what to do instead of trying to connect with ourselves and figure out what is best for me. And yeah, this structure and this ceremony, this service helps us come back to that. Like you said, it helps us come home.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd love to hear a bit more about this. That how did you experience that sound support postpartum? Or I think you have also worked with women who are pregnant and childbirth. So this,
Yeah,
I think this, for those who are listening to this, who even they might know someone in their family or themselves. Um, how
yeah,
does it support?
definitely. So during my pregnancy, my baby is just turned 1. So during my pregnancy, I had a lot of fear, I think, in the beginning. Um, and I had a lot of body image issues because my body was growing, and it's something I've struggled with in the past also. but my body was growing and I knew it had to grow, but I didn't really want it to grow, kind of thing. And it was changing and I didn't know what it was going to look like, and I had no control over it at all. And it's like, you know, it was just, it's crazy. And So I provided sound healing and used sound healing during my entire pregnancy. Some people say that you should wait after the first trimester. Some people believe that the vibration during the first trimester might cause miscarriage. I haven't had any personal experience with that. I have never heard any stories about that, but I do know practitioners that do not provide sound healing for others during the first trimester. Um, but she, in since she was conceived, she was receiving sound healing through the gong and through everything because I was still doing my sessions. Um, so then at my birth, I had my teacher come to my birth and she played gong for me. And then postpartum, I didn't know what it was, but I finally identified that I really had bad postpartum anxiety, and I would have these like panic attacks, and I'm like, I'm a sound practitioner, I'm a sound healer. Like, how can this be happening to me, right? Like, I have all the tools that I need. I can't believe that I'm feeling this way, and then it just perpetuates and grows and gets worse. So I really, again, had to use my intuition and take a step back and understand like what was going on. But it took me a while to get there, and I would have these. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Like somebody was sitting on my chest. It was horrible, and it would happen like out of nowhere. And then as soon as it would start to happen, I would tell myself like, oh God, it's happening again. I feel it happening again. I'm not going to be able, and it's just like the thoughts, you can just like take this little thought and it just like snowballs into this.
Mm.
I think a lot of people experience that, but the first thing I did after it happened a couple times, I just grabbed my bowl and I remember sitting on the couch. The baby was sleeping. I was having a horrible panic attack, and I just started striking the bowl. And one other thing that's really helpful is to hum and to use the voice and to hum. So just sitting there, and I found meditation on YouTube for panic attacks. And I'm listening to all of this at the same time, and it just helped me slow down just a little bit, so I could kind of like catch my thoughts and catch my breath again, and then I just used it more and more. Now the other side of that is that I realized through this practice that once the thought starts, once I felt this anxiety start to come up, I had to change my thoughts and my mindset, um, to to be a little bit more loving and helpful. So and to reframe the thought. So instead of thinking like, oh my God, this is going to be so bad, I can't believe this is happening again, it was more, I have control of my thoughts. My breath is slowing down right now. My body feels safe. I am safe, right? And I had these affirmations that I would tell myself. Anyways, to answer your question, I love helping other people work through this. I have a lot of life experiences that connect me to a lot of different types of people, and I don't know it all, but I've gone through a lot of things, and I feel like I have a lot of tools that do help people. I don't share a lot of these things on social media because I don't know, I don't feel like it's for the whole world to know about my personal
Mm.
struggles, challenges throughout life. But when I work with somebody one on one, I'm definitely a lot more vulnerable to share these things and really connect and relate with them. But I guess you just have to take my word for it when I say that I know that the bowls help.
Yeah.
I know that the sound instruments help. Um, so pregnancy, labor, and postpartum can bring so many emotions. You have hormones all over the place. You have major changes, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally. I mean, it's such a big change in your life. And it's something that I was so excited and so ready for. But when it actually happens, you're just like, whoa, this is crazy. Your whole identity changes. You go from, you know, Jessica at Attunergy, like just me by myself, you go to like, now I'm a mom and I have to like, it's crazy. It's beautiful and it's so awesome, but it's a total change of identity. I'm a whole different person now. And so navigating through that, I needed help. I needed help to navigate through that. Talking to other moms, talking to different spiritual coaches and mentors and things like that really helped shift my mindset and get me in a better place. And then lack of sleep. Throw that on top of everything, right? So yeah, it's I just love being there for people and the experience I had over the past weekend with this mom and her birth. It was one of the most beautiful things I've experienced. Yeah, there's really, it's hard to put words to it. It's just watching her in her most primal natural state, giving birth to a baby, and I watched the baby come out. I mean, there was a bowl that was literally like 2 feet from from this baby being born. He was born. I always say the babies are born into the highest vibrations. They're born into the highest frequency when you add sound healing
Ah,
to your labor. The vibrations can help with pain management. They can help kind of distract the brain from anticipating the next contraction. They can help, yeah, relax the body, like so that the body can open easier, and provide prayer and healing in a stressful time. Um, I saw during that labor and birth, I saw immediately how the sound impacted her. It was it was so cool, Stephen. I mean, it was just I can't really describe in words what that was like.
you described it. Yeah, you already did, and I love the personal
Yeah,
experience that you shared because that vulnerability shows that you have done the work and you are still a human being, which is part of the experience that we chose. And I understand what you're saying when we are on the spiritual path, that it doesn't matter what you're doing, if it's meditation, yoga, sound healing, whatever it is, you think, oh, I'm doing this, so I shouldn't get anxious, I shouldn't get this or that.
yeah,
And there are so many labels that come up. I experienced this in my own life as well. Like, I shouldn't get angry, I should be able to
right,
control it. But that actually, the
right,
control, trying to control myself, is also a pattern that is coming from conditioning. Because
yeah,
in nature, we just let the anger flow through us. We don't try to hold on to it, neither do we try to control it, neither do we try to stop it. So there is that tendency of trying to control what we're feeling, how we're doing, and there's a lot of
yep,
conditioning. And I loved how the bowl kind of helped you to at least get that little space between you and the thought, between you and the mind,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
which then created the ripple effect into opening up and being more relaxed, breathing differently, looking at things differently, changing the way you think. Like, it kind of, or gradually just happened. You
yeah,
didn't just play the bowl and suddenly you were fine. No, it still
right,
took some effort, and
yeah,
it's not like a miraculous healing. And I think it rarely is. It does happen sometimes that you get
yeah, yeah, yeah,
a moment where just things just make click and it's done. But oftentimes healing is a gradual process, and I love
yeah,
how you share this with the world.
yeah. Healing is not linear. It's things happen that set us. I don't want to say set us back, but that we take a step back and we're like, whoa. you know, maybe a big death in the family. I mean, life happens, right? Like, and to think that we're not supposed to be sad or we're not supposed to be upset about something anymore because we're on this healing path is just unrealistic, and it's not fair to ourselves, because all of a sudden we think that like we're what, perfect, or
Mm.
that we're, you know, um and I do think like a lot, this is kind of getting off track a little bit, but I think a lot of people in the spiritual conscious healing community, I think sometimes that they do feel like this, like
Yeah.
that they have so many followers, or that they're so enlightened, right? And they just kind of live in this fake world sometimes, and it's like, we're human, like, like you
Mm.
have to experience all of the ups and downs, and um yeah, that's life. Like, nobody lives a life without challenges, without troubles, without some sort of pain.
Yeah.
And to act like you don't have any of that, like, I personally, I don't connect with that.
Mm.
I don't connect with that. When I go to my own sound healing sessions, if somebody is if the healer, the practitioner, is standing up there and they just have like this perfect life and they're just this perfect, like, you know I don't connect with that.
Yeah.
um I connect with people that are real, that are like, this week, like, I went through some shit. This week was like really hard for me, and this is what I did, and this is how I overcame it. That's what I connect
Mm.
with. Um, and before my sessions start, I always talk about what's going on with me, and I don't share it on social media. But during my sessions, I'll say, "Hey, this is what I went through this week," and maybe you connect with it, maybe you don't. But this is, yeah, this is what I'm going through, and I hope that somebody in the room connects with it. I think that they do. But yeah, it's sound healing is a tool, or a few tools, to have in your toolbox. um it's like a life toolbox, as I refer to it as. When shit hits the fan, what do you do? Do you have the right tools in your toolbox to get through it? Because it's going to happen, and you need more than one tool, right? Like, if something breaks down, you just can't show up with one screwdriver. Like, no, you need a variety, because maybe this doesn't work as well as you thought it was going to work. So instead of using your sound bowls, maybe now you need to go for a run, or you need to go for a walk, or you need to, um, whatever, right? Go in the ocean. Maybe you need to meditate. Maybe you need to go dancing. Maybe you need to get a massage. I mean, there's so many different self care things that I have in my toolbox. And it's just like preparing ourselves for the worst, just in case. And having different options for when one doesn't work. So,
I think different people are drawn to different things. And even in our own life, there might be a time when you're so drawn to meditation and you do hours of meditation, and then you might feel like, I kind of not really like it anymore. And then we get stuck. We think, oh, everybody's talking about meditation right now, and I'm following so many people now that are talking about meditation, so I should be doing meditation. But actually something within you is telling you, no, I don't feel drawn to meditation right now. I want to explore sound, I want to explore singing, I want to explore dancing. But then there is this judgment which is telling you, no, that's a waste of time, you should be doing meditation, that's the only thing that works, everybody says that's the only thing that works. So I resonate 100% with you, because I've been there. I thought, okay, if I do this thing which is like proven that it works, then I'll be doing good because it's proven. But after some time I realized that my body was not asking for that, neither was I feeling it, and I had to let go of it, and that was very hard, because I had identified myself with being that person who is doing these things, and now I had to
sure.
shift from that identity to a new identity, and that was really really challenging.
Yeah,
So I can absolutely relate to it.
yeah. Yeah, it is true, especially like if your business or your identity is based around one thing that you do, and then all of a sudden you don't resonate with that anymore. One of my friends, she was a Reiki practitioner and sound healer, and just one day she was like, "This isn't. It's not working for me anymore. I'm not connecting with it
Mm.
anymore. I'm gonna step away from it." I said, "Okay, great." You know, um, you have to go, yeah, go where you feel the energy, and not forcing ourselves to do something that we don't want to do.
Yeah,
That's the worst thing you could do.
absolutely. And I love the toolbox that you said, that in the sense that you have it for the worst case, but you're still applying something on a daily, right? Like the box is not there just waiting for to be used for worst case. No,
Right,
it's there
right.
supporting you throughout your day, even when that's also something that happens, that when everything is going well, that we kind of lay back and think, oh, everything is so good, and we don't really support ourselves even then, even when everything is going well, that we kind of remember uh, that
Mm-hmm.
there's a work that we have done to come to this point, and now dropping everything that we did and just thinking, oh, that's me, I'm so great, I did all of this. I think that's also something that
Yeah,
we can get trapped in.
it's true. Yeah, yeah. I think taking a few moments every day and just thinking about a few things that you're grateful
Mm,
for is really powerful. And when I think of things I'm grateful for, it's usually things that like I don't control. They're
mm,
things that have been provided, like, my family. I don't control that. They're there for me, though. I have the family, so it's something that's greater than myself. Um, some energy, spirit, God, that I'm connecting with when I
mhm.
talk about my gratitude. So that helps me, I guess, with the humility that you're mentioning, staying humble,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful path that you're on, and I think Attunergy, the way that I'm seeing it, the combination of sound and scent is also something that sparks curiosity, because I have also experienced both. I did experience
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of using scent also for relaxation, also for helps, can help with anxiety, can help with travel
Yep.
sickness, can help with headaches, can help with so many things, and might sometimes be, like, especially when you're traveling, more available than maybe a sound bowl, for example,
Yep.
like certain in certain cases. But I think the combination also sounds very, very interesting and intriguing, because I think right now in the today's world, most of us live in such conditions where there are no natural smells around us, right? Like everything is so clean and
Eh,
clear, and so many chemicals that are being used to,
chemicals. Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
goes into the air. And so I think that bringing back the natural sense is very, very important to also help us to ground, right? The earth elements, and just bringing back those earth elements into our lives. It's amazing. I
Yeah.
love the whole idea behind the tunergy.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. When we feel stressed, when we feel anxiety, or when we feel pain, we want to feel better fast. We don't want it to, and that's why people do drugs, or they rely on food, they overeat, or, because
Mm,
they want to feel better fast. And the scent and the sound helps you feel better fast. They're two modalities that immediately affect the brain. And that's why I like them, because I don't want to waste any time. Let's get to the point here. Let's feel better fast. And and if and the combination of the scent and sound together is just like, it's like magic. It just immediately affects different things in the brain that trigger endorphins, and just all of the happy positive chemicals can be released, and it's yeah, you feel better instantly. It might not cure or resolve the issue
Mm.
at hand, but you can have, like you said, that sense of relief, that separation for 1 second from the issue, to kind of being able to just take a breather for a second, and even that one split second is a moment of healing that you can give yourself credit for. It's like, oh, okay, and not staying wrapped in like the hamster wheel, right? Like it just keeps
Mm.
going, 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 going. So yeah, I've created different blends over the years. Part of my hospitality background is that I'm a sommelier also, which is like a wine expert, or I mean, I'm not an expert, but a wine, wine very well, and my sense of smell is very heightened because of this practice. Um, I don't drink anymore, but I still have the nose for it. So I think that it gives me a unique um, capability to form some of these blends
Mm.
together. So I have room and linen spray. They're all natural, organic, alcohol free. They're safe for your body. You can put them anywhere in the room. I use them during my sound healing sessions to help people come into the session and ground and relax. There's a variety of different blends, combinations, from anxiety to cleansing, to self love blends, sleep blends. And then I also, one of my favorite products are these roll ons that I make.
Mm.
They're chakra balancing roll ons. And I specifically made them for meditation because I know that meditation is hard. Even finding 5 minutes a day to meditate can be really difficult.
Mm.
Excuse me. And so these meditation blends, I have one for each chakra. They each have 7 crystals inside and blended to help you connect with that chakra. But the coolest part about them is that when you scan the QR code on the label, it takes you to a 5 minute meditation that I recorded
Oh.
with my voice and the correlated sound bowl. So you can really connect everything together and start your own meditation practice.
Ah.
Um,
That's cool. I love that.
yeah, really powerful.
That's amazing. Yeah, I wanted to jump also back to the instant gratification that you mentioned, and I mean the way that you said it, it's like the sound bowls and the scent help you to find a way quickly a way out. But I would say that it's very different than the methods of taking a drug or
Yeah.
eating overeating, because it does not take away the pain and the sense of distracting yourself with something else, getting instant gratification and not dealing with the pain, but it just gives you a little bit of space so that you
Mm-hmm.
have that ability to see it from a different perspective. And now you can
Yep.
see that, okay, this pain is there. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm safe, like you said. And
Yep.
I am whole and complete, and this pain is here to serve me. I can learn from it. And maybe you start asking yourself questions like, what is this? What does this pain want to teach me? And you can use the bowl, or you can use the sense to give you that clarity, to give you that, just that breath, just that inhale, just that relaxation, which then leads to the reflection instead of the distraction.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
And it helps the brain waves go from this like, I have to fix it, I have to control it, like I'm so stimulated, right? It helps the brain waves just kind of drop down a little bit, and exactly what you said, it just helps give that space to have a different approach, have a different outlook, and not be so charged up when we're looking at something. If something happens to us, and we're upset about something, it's not easy to resolve it when we're in that charged, kind of more aggressive state.
Mm.
So the scent and the sound helps kind of allow us to look at it in a little bit more loving way, maybe a little bit more understanding, empathetic, sympathetic way, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Just coming back to the idea that everything is here to serve us, and to have trust and faith that we are being taken care of, and that things are working for us, as you said, not against us. Not There's
Yeah,
no malevolent force who wants to punish us. There's nothing that is stopping us from becoming whole, other than our own mind, who's coming up with ideas and reasons why things are not working in our way, and who's guilty, who's bad, who's faulty, who's the bad guy, who did this to me,
yeah,
instead of kind of taking ownership of okay, the feeling is there, the emotion is there, I'm present with it, and I know that this is here to teach me something, to show me the way, and try to find a way to just allow it to flow through you. And the bowls seem to
yeah.
be a great, well, not just the bowls, but sound in general seems to be a great way to move things through the body. And I loved
Hmm.
everything that you're doing with Attunergy, in terms of supporting women during labor, after, before. It's, I think, such a miraculous work, and very, very unique. I've not seen this before, and I loved how you said that we are water. 70% is water, and I've heard on a molecular basis it's even more than that. So, like, every time when you're surrounded by frequencies that resonate in a specific high frequency, in a healing frequency, then your whole body is affected, and your baby as well, because it's inside water. And then if you're giving birth in water, for example,
Yep,
then it's
you
the
got
whole
it.
water is like immersed in the sound.
Charged. Yeah.
So
Yep,
it's
you got
incredible.
it.
And I mean, it's even charging water, like charging your water that you're drinking, charging the plants that receive the water that you're giving them, who are then giving you air, charging the
Yep.
water that you maybe wash your fruits or vegetables in. I mean, this goes like charging your neighborhood, charging. It's, it's incredible. And I wanted to ask you, where can people connect with you?
Yeah. Thank you, Stephen. This has been really fun, and even learning from this podcast has been really enlightening for me. People can connect with me a few different ways. If you're interested in any products or booking a service, you can go to attunergy.com, and you can always connect with me on my YouTube at Attunergy, or on Instagram at Attunergy as well. So yeah, I really appreciate this time, and it's been really nice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.